බොහොම ස්තුතියි මෙවැනි වැඩසටහනක් සංවිධානය කිරීම ගැන. මේ වගේ අවස්ථාවක අපිට මේ ආහාර සුරක්ෂිතතාවය පිළිබඳ කටයුතු කිරීමේදී එක පැත්තකින් සෞඛ්‍ය සහ ජනමාධ්‍ය කියන අමාත්‍ය එකට පැවතීම වැදගත් වේවි. රටක් හැටියට අපි ප්‍රමාද වී වුණත් ආහාර සුරක්ෂිතතාවය පිළිබඳව මේ මොහොතේදී වැඩි අවධානයක් යොමු කිරීම වටිනවා. එක පැත්තකින් නිෂ්පාදනය, සංඛ්‍යා සහ දත්ත සහ නියාමනය මේ සියලු අංශ ඒකාබද්ධව තමයි මේ ක්‍රියාවලිය කළ යුතු වන්නේ. ඒ වගේම මේ ආහාර සුරක්ෂිතතාවය පිළිබඳව පොදු ජනතාව දැනුවත් කිරීම සඳහා මාධ්‍ය සියලු මාධ්‍ය විද්‍යුත් මුද්‍රිත සහ සමාජ මාධ්‍ය කියන සියලු අංශවලට ලොකු වගකීමක් පැවරෙන ඔබ මත බොහෝ දෙනෙක් විශ්වාසය තබනවා. ඒ මාධ්‍යයෙන් කියන දේ ජනතාව විශ්වාස කරනවා. ඒ නිසා මම ඉල්ලා හිටනවා මේ සියලුම මාධ්‍ය ආයතනවල වැඩ කරන අපේ මාධ්‍යවේදී හිතවතුන් සියලු දෙනාගෙන්ම කවුරු දැන්වීම හැදුවත් නේද මොනතරම් මුදලක් ලබා දුන්නත් ඒකේ මොනතරම් රේටින්ග්ස් වැඩි වුණත් ඔබ ප්‍රචාරය කරන දේ අපේ රටේ පුරවැසියෙක් විශ්වාස කරනවා. ඒ ආහාර ඒ දරුවන්ට ලබා දෙනවා. ඒ නිසා ඒ වගකීමත් අපි හිතේ දරාගෙන ඉදිරියට වැඩ කරමු. මොකද මතක තියාගන්න මේ වන විට මේ ආහාර ආශ්‍රිත රෝගාබාධ වලින් පීඩාවටපත් වෙන රෝග වලට ගොදුරු වෙන ප්‍රමාණය ඉහළමින් තිබෙනවා. හැම පැත්තෙම. එක පැත්තකින් අපේ උපත් ප්‍රමාණය අඩු වෙද්දී අනිත් පැත්තෙන් ආහාර සම්බන්ධ රෝගාබාධ ඉහළ යනවා කියලා කියන්නේ ඒක රටක් අභියෝගයක් හැටියට බාරගත් අවස්ථාවක්. අපි සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යාංශය හැටියට මේ අභියෝගය පිළිබඳව නිරන්තර අවධානයෙන් ඉන්නවා. ඒක අභියෝගයක් හැටියට අපි බාරගෙන තිබෙනවා. අපි හැම දෙනාගේම ඒකාබද්ධ මැදිහත් වීමෙන් පමණමයි මේ අභියෝගයේ ජයග්‍රහණය කළ හැකි වන්නේ. ඉතින් මම හිතනවා මේ කණ්ඩායමට ඒකට හොඳ පියවරක් තබන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් ලෝක ආහාර සංවිධානය, යුරෝපා සංගම ඇතුළු සංවිධාන ගණනාවක් උදව් කරමින් ඉන්නවා. එයාගේ එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ සංවර්ධන අරමුදල මේ සියලු මේ සියලු ආයතන වල උදව් සහිතව අපි අපේ රටේ පුරවැසියාට හොඳ ආහාර වේලක්, පෝෂ්‍යදායී ආහාර වේලක් වගේම සුරක්ෂිත ආහාර ලබා දීම සඳහා කටයුතු කරමු කියන We all share a collective responsibility to ensure that the food consumed by our people is safe, nutritious, and of the highest quality. Food safety is not just a public health concern, it is an economic and social imperative. Ensuring a robust food safety system safeguards public health, reduces the burden of foodborne diseases, and boosts consumer confidence. It also strengthens our trade potential by aligning Sri Lanka's food industry with international standards. Safe food is essential for a healthy nation, a thriving economy, and a sustainable development. Despite our progress, Sri Lanka faces several challenges in maintaining food safety. Number one is gaps in regulation and enforcement. While we have strong legal frameworks, the implementation and enforcement of food safety regulations need further strengthening. Number two is inadequate infrastructure and resources. Many testing laboratories require modernization, and we need more trained personnel in food safety and quality assurance. Number three is rising foodborne illnesses. The increasing incidence of foodborne diseases highlights the needs for improved monitoring, surveillance, and consumer awareness. Next one is supply chain complexity. With globalized supply chains, ensuring food safety from farm to fork requires better coordination amongst stakeholders. Number five, misinformation and public awareness. Consumers must be better informed about food safety risks, proper handling, and hygienic food practices. To address these challenges, we must embrace multi-sectoral collaboration and innovation. Our approach must be proactive, inclusive, and driven by science. Some key solutions include enhancing regulatory frameworks, investment in infrastructure and technology, capacity building and training, public-private partnerships, and consumer education and awareness. Looking ahead, we must commit to establishing a centralized food safety authority to streamline food safety governance, promoting sustainable and organic food production to minimize exposure to harmful chemicals, strengthening cross-border collaboration with international bodies such as WHO and FAO to adopt best practices in food safety, harnessing data and AI for food safety monitoring to detect and prevent food safety risk in real time. The road to achieving a comprehensive, reliable, and resilient food safety system requires commitment, coordination, and sustained effort. As we embark on this journey, I urge all stakeholders, government agencies, the private sector, researchers, and consumers to join hands in making food safety to top priority. Together, let us create a healthier and safer Sri Lanka where every citizen has access to food that is not only delicious but also safe and nourishing. Thank you, and I look forward to a productive discussion ahead. And furthermore, I think this is a very significant moment when we talking about the food safety matters. Being the Minister of Health and Mass Media, as our ministry, we can do a lot collaborating the health sector as well as the media. So our program in the food safety sector is to collaborate every stakeholders, international and local, and to streamline all the activities and strengthen the food safety activities. So we have discussed in the cabinet also. We have a committee, a subcommittee for the cabinet. This includes the ministries relevant to the production, data collection, and the regulation. So altogether, I think we can achieve this goal. Thank you.
Food safety is a very important subject because it gives us nutrition and it helps us to increase our productivity in the country ultimately. So therefore, good food, healthy food is very, very important. And to our esteemed media personnel, you are of course between us and the consumers. So you can certainly do a lot of work in this area. As Mr. Sharan said, going beyond reactive or reporting, I think if you really understand the crux of food safety, I'm sure you will be able to work in a much more proactive manner. I remember when I went to Singapore, that was on vector surveillance really, that was in 1998. I was actually surprised to see a front page of a main daily. You know, the front page is very important and you don't just spare. There was one headline, Clean Toilet Program. Would you ever think in Sri Lanka, in any daily, you would give space in the front page for a subject like Clean Toilet Program? Because that was a Singapore government initiative then. And the media gave such an importance to that program. So that is how those countries have developed. So therefore, I think it is very important that the media, I know it is very competitive. Basically, in media and even in our administration, the approach is basically, we are good at reactive approach. So, but then it is very important that if the country to move forward, prosper, it is very important that we rethink and, reschedule our the work. So, I know that this is a wonderful opportunity for the media personnel, because following this there will be a panel and then there will be interaction, so you can certainly ask any question, you can share your views, and I'm sure it will be a very important interaction, of course, which I will not be able to participate at length, unfortunately. And also I want to acknowledge the ongoing efforts of the government and the Ministry of Health and Mass Media in this area of work. As you may be aware, there is a cabinet committee on food policy and food security. Because as a country, I think the number one problem is food security. But then food security without food safety is like practice without theory, kind of. So, but in this cabinet committee, there is a space for food safety, and then the Ministry of Health and Mass Media is, of course, entrusted with that area. So, one decision was to come up with concept note on food safety and healthy food habits. So now we are working on that, and we certainly will go beyond concept note, because concept note is a concept note, but we need action on this. So therefore, we in the Ministry of Health and Mass Media, we gathered about 40 experts, not only from the Health Ministry, but from other ministries as well, including FAO. So now, then we divided into 3 groups. One is on food safety, the other one is on healthy food habits, and the other one is nutrition surveillance. So now these 3 groups are currently working, and we will, next Wednesday, we will have next plenary with us. So we again get together and then we move forward. So this is where the FA work is very important, that you have come up with a policy. So we will certainly go through, these teams would be going through this document as well as other documents, and we will see what is best for us. And then certainly we may need to rethink of our structure. We may need certain structural changes, because ours is Food Act 1980. We have FAC, Food Advisory Committee, and then we have Food Control Unit, and then we have the authorized officers around the country. And apart from us, Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, they also come up with certain regulations with regard to primary production of food. So I believe the country is in transformation, so health is not left out. So we will be very carefully working in the area of food safety. Of course, this BESPA project is very important. Of course, it had its hiccups. I believe we have put the train to track once again, of course, with a bit of extension, I think things should work. So, therefore, I thank for the support offered to us by Mr. Branch, the UN, and of course, Yola UN. And I thank all the media personnel for turning up for this very important engagement. So in conclusion, I wish you a good day. Thank you.
At the end of the day, to educate consumers on the food safety issues, to see whether they are adequately engaged, adequately educated in order to take the best decisions in terms of food security aspects. So we have Madam Samantha Karunaratne, the Director at the Consumer Affairs Authority in Sri Lanka. Ms. Karunaratne, I would like to directly ask you, how would you assess the current level of consumer awareness in terms of food safety issues in Sri Lanka? Do you believe that they have sufficient knowledge? What do you propose we should do?
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting Consumer Affairs Authority for this forum. Nalin, I give you a silent answer for that, your question. This is my answer. Tomorrow is the World Consumer Rights Day, declared by Consumers International. This year, the theme is this. Every year, 15th March, they are celebrating, around 200 countries, members are there. They are celebrating the World Consumer Rights Day. We also following this theme. So, still we have to, there is no end for awareness. Time by time, foods are changing, the strategy is changing, patterns changing. So, there is no end for the consumer education. Always it is not enough. Have to update it, improve. So that is the answer for you.
You want to add anything to that? We all are in hunger of knowledge, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But if I just bring an additional maybe support question,
Yeah.
What is the most say according to your understanding?
Yeah.
There are a number of authorities, different segments, sectors are available to work on consumer awareness on food.
Yeah.
What do you think that the consumer authorities' main role in bringing this to the consumer level?
Yeah, actually Consumer Affairs Authority is established for regulation of the internal trade. We are a regulator, one of regulator among others. Our experience is in this open market can be sold anything until the consumer well aware. Can be sold anything until the consumer well aware in this open market. So regulatory authorities always we have to alert what are the, especially Consumer Affairs Authority talking about the end product. There is a chain, no? That final product, we are talking about the final product, labeling regulations and their need and SLS mandatory standards, all those things we are talking as the regulatory organization, but this is a big chain from farm to fork. So we have to consider that starting point up to ending point. And I would like to share my experience. In the market, we found adulterated coconut oil. They are unsafe for consumer. And we found chili powder, turmeric powder, which are colored with fabric dye. We took legal actions as the regulatory body, but still they are available in the market. So there is a responsibility of consumer side also. They have to be alert, vigilant, what are the products available. And sometimes we found that using, science exploits sometimes the market. Science exploits the market. Sometimes producers use sulfur to clean mold coriander, which are not suitable. They use sulfur to clean them and send it again to the market for selling. Those are the things happening in the market. Sometimes farmers cultivate, not all, for their consumption separately, and cultivate major part for the market. Those are the problems in the market. So consumers should be aware about the food, as you mentioned earlier, foodborne illnesses and sometimes contaminations, food contaminations, labeling informations. They should be aware, they should be alert what are the information on the label. They are misleaded most of the time. So these are the things. Another thing, role of the regulatory bodies. We all should, there are a lot of regulatory bodies regarding food sector. We all should work together. Otherwise, separately working is not good for the, safe for the consumer's health. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Karunaratne, for your valuable insights in terms of, I understand that there are sometimes language barriers, but then organizers have prepared to answer the question. So you will have the simultaneous translation support, so please talk to organizers. They will help you whenever you want. Thank you. Now, Madam Karunaratne, you brought a very important small phrase. Science exploits market. I think it's a little serious. Maybe let's listen to Professor Mendes, Irisha Mendes, coming from the academics to see whether where we are right now, is it sufficient? Have researchers done their work? Where are we on this? What is your opinion in order to support the consumers in terms of food safety knowledge based on research findings? Over to you, Madam.
Okay. Thank you, Nalin, for inviting me for this very important panel discussion and the forum. Let me start with very briefly, because I know there are different the stakeholder groups, the consumers, industry partners, governmental organizations. There are many who are participating in this forum. Let me start with a very brief description about safe food. We all know safe food is free from any hazards. I mean, we consumers, the modern consumers are aware of what is these hazards are. So biological, chemical, physical, allergens, and even we are talking about radioactive material. So as Ms. Samantha very correctly said, we consumers are very scared of having a fear of consuming food with adulterants. So that's, I mean, we all expect to have safe food. So now we are moving to, I mean, in an era, we talk about not only food security and food safety. So food safety are all the practices followed by all the stakeholder groups along the food chain, starting from primary production. That's agriculture, the farmers, and food industrialists, right? All the good practices, and the regulators play a very important role in deciding the requirements to ensure the what we consume is safe and in quality. So with that, now what is your question? What is the role of the professionals, scholars, scientists in this very important the responsibility of ensuring food safety for the country? And also we must remember, now these food safety issues we are talking about, day to day, I mean, if we talk about different types of food safety issues yesterday, it's not the issues we are talking today. And also it's not the issues we are talking tomorrow. Because the issues are evolving and they are diverse. So we need to have a very clear understanding about the food safety issues if we are to talk about the control. Now, in this aspect, we have to follow a scientific approach, because we cannot just think, okay, this is there, and as very correctly the media the partner of the panel said very correctly. I mean, we are mostly giving very misconceptions and misinformation to the public. So it's the role of the scientists, researchers, scholars and professionals to give very good idea or clear idea, precise idea about what are the food safety issues we are facing as consumers. That's very important. And we should be very professional and also ethical in talking about these type of issues. Otherwise, it will be a kind of a very irresponsible role we are playing. So the scholars should do research, do studies, because there are very many gaps in the system to understand not only the local context, because we are not involved only in local food trade, we are involved in global trade. So therefore, we need to have a scientific knowledge about the food safety issues occur locally as well as internationally. So because it might come to any food, might imported food, locally produced food can come into the market. So therefore, we must do research, and also we do need to disseminate our knowledge ethically and professionally. And also, we need to participate in the developing regulations, standards, and also policies, because it is very important to have a proactive approach, not firefighting or reacting to what we hear. So, as very correctly the secretary of the ministry very correctly said, right, the food safety is a shared responsibility. I mean, we always pinpoint the regulators. We always, mostly we pinpoint the industry. So it's not only the responsibility of the industry. It's not only the responsibility of the regulators. We as consumers also need to play a role. Now, taking a food product from the market and not looking at the shelf life or the date of expiry, and if a product is meant to be boiled before consumption and not boiling before consumption, it's all our responsibilities as consumers as well. And also, we are in a digital era, so we should be having a very good idea of the prevailing food safety issues, hazards we are facing, and we should be, I mean, active consumers to reject if the quality or the safety of products we consume are having issues. So I think the scholars, the professionals, researchers, I think we all need to play a role, Nalin.
Thank you very much, Professor Mendes. I think that was really good. Yes, I know, we should be able to say no to the wrong food. We should make consumers so strong to go against and to find the right food for them, and also to make sure that they have an authority to bring their issues. I'm sure Consumer Affairs Authority's main role and facilitation is also the same. So we all understand the information is the key today. It's is an asset to all of us, including consumers. The rich knowledge information is produced by professionals, researchers, policymakers, and that is being taken to the consumers by the media personnel, our all colleagues who have joined here today, media, friends. You play a major role here. And obviously, we have Consumer Affairs Authority to, support consumers, regulate it, and to work with Ministry of Health, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Fisheries to, make sure the food we produce are safe always. Now, the food is coming to your hand is not only through these sectors. The major sector of producing food and bringing to you is coming from the private sector. So today we have Mr. Ruanta. Mr. Ruanta, the senior manager from CBL, very familiar to all of us, the Munchie. You all know the brand Munchie. So CBL, basically representing number of segments in this country, bringing a variety of foods to the marketplace. So I'm sure, Mr. Ruanta, you will have a lot to say about your own industry. My first question to you, how do you safeguard the industry? Are you ready to, produce food, bring food to the market? What challenges that you face when it comes to regulatory bodies, regulations? What do you have to tell us in terms of, taking this issue forward further? Over to you.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this important panel discussion. So I would like to tell now, if we take the food safety concerns, so it's not just a concept to the industry. So it's a priority for the industry. If you take all our brands, so those brands are built on food safety and quality aspects. So based on that, our brands are gone for a mile. So for your specific question now, if we take the regulatory compliance on the food safety aspect, in Sri Lanka, we can say there are certain well-defined statutory set of requirements, the statutory regulations and standard in place. So it's basically from Ministry of Health under the Food Act, as well as a lot of other authorities as well. So if you take the value chain from farm to fork, so we are in a position to make sure the whatever the materials come into the factory before we processing are assuring the safe in terms of food safety. I'll bring one example. So in certain raw materials, the maximum residual limits of pesticides as well as contaminants and toxicants. So those maximum limits are well defined in the laws. So at the value addition level or the factory level, so we have to make sure that whatever the incoming raw materials are acceptable to the factory. So in that case, we have put adequate gates, measures and the investments to make sure that the incoming raw materials are safe to take into the factory. So in certain cases, we have to reject the lot because of the unsafe nature of the lot. So with the economic loss, so either we have to take the loss or else the farmer or the third man has to take the loss. So that is the situation. So on the other hand, so we have taken some voluntary measures to assure the food safety from the industry perspective. The best example is now, even though the regulations are permitted certain artificial colors, food colors in the country, so industry per se, we notice that there are certain sensitivities on some of those colors to certain demographic groups in the population. So we took a voluntary initiative with a lot of investments to move from artificial colors to natural colors, which is more safer to the consumers or the children. So with that, it's a kind of a next level initiative taken by the industry to show our commitment towards the food safety of the consumers. So that is one aspect. So and also if you take the consumer preferences, you meant by the question now, there are a lot of preferences from the market. So basically what we do is through the means of new product developments, we try to approach those needs, but while saving the food safety. For an instance now, if you take now, there are certain trend in the market having low sugar products. So to accommodate that, we need to use some kind of sweetness. But now with the new laws, the labeling law, we have to give some kind of a warning statement on the label. So it's not happy for us to do that. But anyway, in terms of food safety, we are here to support the policies. We are here to support the food safety. So whenever we use sweetness, we declare those warning statements to the consumers. So that is one commitment, another commitment that we do in terms of food safety. Finally, the economic impact. So then just look at the raw material, just take grains. So if the grain consignment is not up to the standard, so then we have to either look for the alternative suppliers, for an instance, import the stuff. So at what cost? The cost is much higher. So then part of the cost we have to pass to the consumer. On the other side of the coin is, so when we import the grain, so what will happen to the local farmer? So what will happen to the rural economy? So what will happen to the local farm harvest? So those are the questions parked in front of us. So how we can assure the upper stream of the food chain? So those are the challenges, not the challenges that we face at the factory level or the value addition stage. There are adequate investments in the factory level. But if you look at the upper stream, farmer level is I think the most appropriate segment to approach in terms of food safety. So that is the main idea from my end.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ruanta.